Cyclone Chido made landfall on Mayotte earlier today, causing major damage. These were the scenes earlier today on the island of Mayotte, the easternmost of the Comoros Islands. Although not part of the Comoros, it's its own nation, and the Comoros has also been affected by tropical storm force winds as well, but the storm made a direct impact on this island of Mayotte and then is now moving further towards the southwest now as it starts to clear these islands and is now heading towards the coast of Mozambique. Looking pretty decent, category 3 status right now according to our estimates, 13.1 south, 43.8 degrees east. That's the latest as of 7 p.m. Eastern African time this evening, with an estimated pressure of 954 millibars, moving west-southwest at 13 miles per hour or 21 kilometers per hour. That's been relatively steady. It has slowed just a little bit, and its intensity has been fluctuating quite a lot as well, with varying estimates all over the place, really, over the course of today. So right now, here is the storm's current position with its wind field spread out up to 105 nautical miles in the southern quadrants there, and winds on the island of Mayotte reached approximately 100 miles per hour. I think that was the highest wind report, with gusts of 140 miles per hour earlier, so no wonder it caused some substantial damage. It is 82 kilometers from Malawi, one of the Comoros Islands, 163 from Moroni, the capital of the Comoros, 346 from Pemba in Mozambique, 364 from Nacala further south, and 530 from Nampula inland. Well, the storm is likely to hold on to a lot of its intensity all the way up until this landfall in Mozambique, which means it is remaining a very dangerous storm. And those impacts will be produced tonight and into tomorrow. Major wind impacts expected to continue as the storm draws near to Mozambique, with tropical storm force winds continuing for a while longer on the Comoros. Winds of up to 100 miles per hour or higher possible, particularly between Nacala and Pemba. That's where we're currently expecting the actual landfall will take place. Exactly where, we're not sure, but somewhere between those two cities and possibly over one of them. Well, here is the current track then, according to our latest forecast over the next couple of days. It starts to weaken very quickly after it makes landfall, and probably by Monday, before it even passes by Malawi, it's dissipated by that point. What's left of its remnants will start to swing towards the south, possibly passing through part of Zimbabwe and then back over Mozambique. And what's left of it will probably end up being brought up by a frontal system down there in the southern Mozambique channel. Well, a wide array of estimates here. Currently we're estimating 115 miles per hour. In my view, it's inexplicable that the JWC and MFR are up at 140 miles per hour category 4 status, although nonetheless the storm is pretty strong right now, and anything above 115 mile per hour category 3 is obviously very, very dangerous. Its eye has been pretty decent in the last few hours at times. This is a JWC forecast track. They're calling for landfall near its current intensity, which they say is category 4 status. Either way, it looks like it will be a powerful cyclone still at landfall just north of Nacala, according to that forecast there. This is our graphic from yesterday showing that our implied watches and warnings, and you can see those red areas there are for hurricane conditions. Obviously those areas further east will be out of that area now. Of course, those winds have passed. And this was the graphic as well from yesterday. We'll be updating these soon on our automated stream, which you can also track live, showing the high chance of storm force winds and elevated chances extending well inland there over Africa. Well, there's the GFS forecast model for today, and you can see that movement is pretty much locked in, moving west-southwestwards the whole time. It loses tropical storm force winds, probably over Malawi, but still quite interesting that it holds on for that long. It's quite a big chunk of land before it gets there, but certainly holds on to some destructive winds for a good while before it moves inland, and then it gets, it really disappears from a wind point of view. It gets swallowed up. You'll see it a lot more easily on the rainfall estimates though, which we're going to show next. This is the simulated radar reflectivity. You can see very high rain rates as well around the storm initially, and then it gets displaced to the southern side of what's left of the circulation, and you can see it persisting there in the southern part of Mozambique for a while. Looks like it stalled for a bit there actually, and then gets dragged out towards the southeast in the normal way that storms often do in this area. Watch again as we watch all of that rainfall occur. Again, generally it's placed on the southern side, coastal areas, Beira, possibly further south than there as well, getting some potentially heavy rainfall bursts there, which could cause flash flooding in itself too. Although in general the rainfall expectations have dropped slightly for Mozambique. Here they are now. You can follow the rain swathe here as the storm continues to push inland over the next few days. There it is, the 18th, 19th of December. You can see quite a bit of rain accumulating there in the southern part of Mozambique, so there could be some flash flooding issues there. As a matter of fact, that might be higher than where the storm's making landfall even. Here's the estimates now: 7 or 8 inches, 200 millimeters of rainfall for those areas near landfall, and then in that southern area there, if it did stall for a bit, those rainfall rates could get a little bit higher than that, actually higher than where the major hurricane equivalent storm is making landfall. So that's an interesting feature. Well, looking at sea surface temperatures, they're obviously still very warm where the storm is right now. These probably read low, if anything, on the sea surface temperatures, up to around 30 degrees Celsius probably at least for the storm right now. And look at how much of a heat wave we're getting inland in Mozambique to the north of Beira there, a temperature of 45 degrees Celsius right now. So let's hope the storm doesn't do much over there apart from give all those people a nice little relief from those temperatures. Well, let's take a look at the storm now on satellite imagery, and this is how it's been progressing today. The eye has never been particularly clear, but what you can see there is that it definitely made an actual landfall over Mayotte, the northwestern part of the island. Most of the imagery there was from the capital, Mamoudzou, which is on the eastern side of Mayotte, and this is more recent imagery there showing the storm's general movement. It's been struggling a little bit to get close off that eye properly. Infrared imagery, you know, the eye not appearing to be very deep on that imagery there as well. Northern side really blowing up, a fair bit of convection there. Southern side not quite as much. I think I'm quite satisfied with the category 3 rating on this storm rather than 4 at this time, although for a brief period earlier it did look very good as it was making that last approach to Mayotte, which you can see on this imagery, before it started to cloud over again in the hours afterwards. So a complex situation with this storm. It certainly has provided a few surprises. It's packed a punch. It delivered at least category 2 force winds on Mayotte. We saw those damage pictures, and I expect we'll be seeing similar stuff when the storm arrives in Mozambique early or middle of the day tomorrow, depending on where you are exactly. Looking at water vapor imagery here as well, showing that eye is still apparent but not quite as deep on that imagery. And so we've already seen quite a bit of the damage that's occurred, and I expect we will be seeing more. We should be preparing right now for this landfall in Mozambique coming up very shortly.